RPG Lessons Learned. When the game is over, when your players are gone, that's when lessons are learned. Find us online at rpgllpodcast.com, email us at rpgllpodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Blue Sky at rpgll.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the award-winning RPG Lessons Learned, my mom's favorite podcast. I'm Tanner. I'm your co-host. I'm here with Dusty, your main host. What's up, Dusty?
Tanner, how is it going?
It is going great. We've been playing some games. It's been a little bit, but we got back in the saddle, and we concluded the adventure that we now know as Slug House, which is... it remained unnamed because I didn't want to spoil the big slug before you encountered it.
And I thought it was a gelatinous cube the entire time.
Interesting.
So I'm glad you did not spoil the slug.
This is a level 1 to 3 fantasy adventure by Daniel Hers for BX and other old school systems. No AI was used in any part of this work. I like that disclaimer. Well, I'm sad that disclaimer has to be a thing now, but I'm glad when I see it, I guess.
Yeah, same. That makes a lot of sense. I put it on my work. I released Dragon and Dungeon, and I felt compelled to put the same thing.
Yeah, it's such a weird... we're already on a tangent. My thing with AI, besides all the other ethical concerns about it, is that why would I want to play something or experience something that someone didn't think it was worth their time to create in the first place?
Yep. And it really has damaged my consumption of legitimate creator stuff because my self-defense against AI, like I love reading self-published novels.
Yeah.
Because it's not formulaic. I've gone over this before. I've talked about it. It's not written by committee. It's not been through 9 editors who all give the same advice. But I'm not going to read any self-published stuff that came out basically after 2022.
Yeah, it's hard. And I think that you can find kind of ethical sources for it, and places that require you to disclose whether or not you used AI. Like there are creators I follow on Itch that I know I can trust to not use AI, you know what I mean? Who are very outspoken against it or have otherwise put disclaimers. But yeah, it's such a mixed bag. I'm really hoping in 3 to 5 years it's a bubble that bursts and we don't have to worry about this anymore. But for now it's here, but it's not in Slug House, which is what matters.
That is what matters. So Slug House, how many sessions did we play Slug House?
I think we did 3 sessions of Slug House. And should we give an overall sort of what was our thoughts with this adventure? Maybe numbered 1 through 10?
Yes, that's what I was just going to say.
I'm going to give our time with Slug House a 5.5 out of 10.
I'm pausing because that's the same number I was thinking, and it seems we said it before, and I wish we'd like write the number down and show each other at the same time. But if that's the number you're thinking, that's fine. It is, and I really don't want that to reflect on the author. No, I think it's how we approached it. I'll give some quick examples. My first foray into Slug House, I got my ass handed to me very quickly, like 2 rooms or 3 rooms into the dungeon. So it just felt very lethal, and that made me like very nervous for every subsequent foray into the house. And I was probably overly cautious and reluctant to explore, and I noped out of rooms, like entire rooms, very quickly because I'm just like, nope, not messing with that. Let's do something else. So the way we played it was with the Tan Hack, your system.
Yep. I'm
not criticizing your system, but I think since it was just the 2 of us, and I don't mean you and I mean Vikram and Hartman. Since it was just the 2 player characters, it felt like they were very squishy. I wish I would have played either with 4 player characters, or like maybe Hartman and Vikram should have started at level 2.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we specifically wanted to try the game. You very generously, correct me if I'm wrong on this, by the way, but this is how I remember this. I said, hey, we can use like the Scarlet Hero-ified rules for one-on-one play that I kind of hacked into my system. And you said, no, let's try your system. I'm just going to run 2 characters, which we had never done before together. You've done it plenty, but not with me.
Yes, and running 2 characters I find very easy. I should have said, I felt like I would have been asking for too much, but I should have said, let me run 2 characters at level 2.
I think so. I think that would have been good too. Slug House, the adventure, it feels very, our time with it was very fine. I don't think it was like especially great. I don't think there were any disasters in it really, but I don't think it's going to go in the Hall of Fame in my memory of like great adventures that we've run together. And I'm wondering if it's because, and this has nothing to do with the quality of the adventure, if I picked one that was too big for our tastes and our schedule. Because it's a 3-level dungeon. I'm looking at the key here. There are 82 rooms with keys, and I would say that you explored maybe half to 2/3 of them, and you got what you wanted to out of the dungeon. But like for 2 guys with jobs and families and commitments, is that too much?
Probably. In high school, I would have loved. I didn't play D&D in high school, but if I played D&D in high school, like on a Saturday when you'd go over to your friend's house and be there for like 10 hours.
We had lots of half days. That a buddy of mine lived like right next to our high school, and we would like have a half day on Friday, and we would stay there till Saturday at like 3 a.m. It was awesome.
Yeah, when I was doing that with friends, I would have devoured this entire dungeon in a session. So it not being right for 2 adult men in their 40s/30s doesn't mean it's not right for anyone. I would have loved 82 rooms of fun in a 10-hour session, and this dungeon would have been so super great. But it was too intricate, and we had to span it across 4 sessions over the course of like 2.5, if not 3 months.
Yeah.
Which diluted like, what was that treasure? Oh, what was this amber liquid again? Oh, what was this? What did this key go to?
And I want to compliment this game because it is this module is really fantastically interconnected. Pretty much every character that's there makes sense. Every key that you find has a place where it goes, like a Resident Evil game. There are solutions to treasures that are in other rooms. Like, no shade at all to the way that this module is written. When I say that 5.5, I'm talking about our experience with it, which was perfunctory, and we kind of owed this game, this module, something better, or it would have been a better fit for another group that meets every Friday or something like that.
It's fair. I did enjoy exploring a larger dungeon than we usually do. And you're right, it is super interconnected. Again, if you're listening and you play in 10-hour sessions, first of all, I hate you because I'm jealous.
Yeah.
But second of all, this dungeon is great. You would love it.
Or if you play regularly, if you have a weekly game, play this dungeon for sure.
Yep. And again, I hate you. But yes, play this. Don't mind my jealousy. I wish a bigger dungeon was a lot of fun. I wish we'd found like a 40-room dungeon.
I agree. One thing about our hex dungeons, which we loved so much, is that I think the formula, it was a good formula, but it was a formula. You know what I mean? Like, you knew, looking at the size of the hex, you knew how big that dungeon was. When you were exploring this manor, you had no idea whether there'd be a room over there or not. You know what I mean? And like, maybe that's something that hex dungeons lose a little bit in comparison to traditional dungeons. But like, I like the sense of like, I genuinely don't know how deep this labyrinth is going to go.
What percentage of this dungeon did I explore? Is there any way to keep track of that? Gut feel 50.
Let me see here. I think it's a little bit more than 50. Yeah, I think probably in the 50% zone now that I'm looking at it. Because you explored about what looks like, I'd say, 1/3 to 2/3 of each floor. So I would say on average around 50% is a good way to think about it.
So feedback on me. How did I approach this as a player? Like, were you annoyed by? Like, you used the word perfunctory, and I'm fascinated by that. What did you what did you mean by perfunctory?
I think that we had a time that we could describe as having done a dungeon crawl. You were listening at doors, you were interacting with items, you were engaged. That being said, I don't think that you made like too many fascinating decisions. Not that you should have. I don't think you made too many stupid decisions. Like, your head was in the game, and I really that's one thing about this session that really stood out to me, is that like every time I described a room, you were like interacting with the fiction of it. You were playing a suspicious rogue, trying to interact in ways that did not trigger magical effects, which was great. But it ended up feeling kind of dry overall. And that's not your job necessarily, to like be this actor who infuses my game with chaos and joy and sadness and pain or whatever. But like, it felt very rote, if that makes sense. Like you were following a process, you were engaged, but it was it reminded me of that episode that you guys talked about, your Tomb of Horrors Dwarven expedition, where you had your standard operating procedure of, I open the door, I sweep it with a 10-foot pole, we make one step, like, I feel like Vikram was like maybe one step away from doing that as he explored this dungeon.
I mean, I think last session you were like, all right, from now on, I'm going to assume that you're listening at doors and doing this and doing that. So no, I think you're very right. And I'll say emotionally, I had a hard time connecting with this adventure. Again, not the way it was written, the way we played it. I emotionally didn't connect. I was looking for emotional connections. I don't know if you noticed that, but like I kept imagining, like, is this what the story is? And at first I'm imagining the story of like potential spoilers of like a husband who's a necromancer, which I think was the truth, and his wife that was horrified by that. And I'm like, those are the first notes I found. And then I forgot that. And then, 2.5 months later, we resumed playing, and I'm misremembering, and I'm thinking, oh, the lady's a necromancer. And can we find her like in a coffin and maybe drive a stake through her heart? And then you're like, no, reread these notes you found. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm back to trying to save this lady from her abusive husband and like free her of this cursed marriage with a necromancer. And then I start finding clues to like, oh, maybe the lady's here, maybe I can rescue her. And then turns out, no, she's a bad guy too. Like,
is there anything more heartbreaking than a player like theorizing about something that's great, and I know I'm going to disappoint them when they realize that that's not what it is?
I don't know. Like, for maybe if I were you, I would have been like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But I was looking for that emotional
I know.
hook.
And I'm wondering, is it the job for a dungeon designer to be emotional? B, if not, is it my job as a GM to imbue these things with an emotional connection besides the rote of dungeon crawling, which we both agree, like, the process of dungeon crawling, we're a fan of. It's fun. But like, are we looking for something more that wasn't here? I don't know.
Probably. And it's not fair to ask for it. Like,
no.
Temple of a Thousand Swords, there was no emotional hook. There was no one I was trying to rescue. Ruined Asylum of Ulgrith by you. There was no like emotional hook. No one I was trying to like help or rescue, except for my professor back home, where I was trying to get him.
But you engaged with the troglodytes in that one, and you found an emotion to act on in that one, as you decided not to be a colonial imperialist and steal their crap. And I would say in Temple of a Thousand Swords, like, you got made fun of by the merfolk, you got in a scrap with the duck people. I think there is something there. Maybe this dungeon didn't have enough. It seemed like the only people you could talk to were like bandits and gang members who are kind of a-holes. Like, there are factions in this dungeon, but I can't see you ever emotionally deciding to side with one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my only friend was that silent little homunculus that sold me crap that was thrown down a well.
Yeah. Which is like great. Like, all those little vignettes are awesome, but it might be missing some sort of secret sauce that keeps it at least for us, from becoming one of the greats. It sounds like we're down on it. Like I think this is a well-designed dungeon, but maybe just not to our tastes and our schedules.
Yeah. We keep emphasizing too, like the art was really good. I thought assume was the map yours or was the map from the dungeon?
The map on Roll20 that we did?
Yes.
That I made that. But I mean it's from the dungeon. But okay. It came with the handouts for all the notes and stuff like that. Like the PDF is great. It has great art in it too, as you'll see, Dusty, once you take a look at it. So like it's easy to reference too. Like every time I had to like flip a page, I'm like, oh, I can click here for the wine room or whatever. So again, competently made. We had a competent time with it. I wish I was happier with it, but c'est la vie.
C'est la vie. What else is there to say about this?
What did you think of my rules? I guess we can talk about the tan hack a little bit. I caught you being confused on the roll high, roll low, +1, -1, because the black hack is a roll low system. And when you're fighting something with larger hit dice than you're adding, but if you're using a magic sword, you're subtracting. So I think the tan hack might need some work. Or maybe it's not the perfect one size fits all system for dungeon crawling to my taste that I wanted it to be, but I liked certain things. Like I liked my dungeoneering die, which is not something I invented, but it's like the hazard die that you might see that in other old school games. And I liked how easy it was to just rule something, to say, hey, roll int for this, roll con for this. And it was pretty quick to do that. I think this would be more successful at a real table, but I don't know. I want you to let loose on the tan hack and give me your honest feedback on that.
I would find it easier if I was adding to the target number instead of to the rolls.
Interesting.
Or so maybe like, subtracting the target number, I guess.
Yeah.
If I moving the target, I find conceptually easier. Like, but Scarlet Heroes is the same thing. Like you add their AC to your roll, so it's not insurmountable. There's
a little bit of friction there, one way or another.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to solve it. Several sessions of the tan hack, I think it'd be good. I really enjoyed the magic system. I really enjoyed the dungeoneering rules. I enjoyed the usage die on the light sources and the food. Food, by the way, like I like how unpredictable it is. Food in my first couple forays into the dungeon were a real obstacle. You kept rolling food, and I kept rolling low on the usage die, and I kept running out of food.
Yeah.
But this last session, food didn't even come up.
Yeah.
And you kept rolling light sources, and I kept rolling well on the light sources. I like how unpredictable that is, though. I enjoyed dungeoneering. I really like the inventory system. Like, you caught me repeatedly having to make trade-off decisions. I left a hacksaw upstairs a couple sessions ago. I had to repeatedly leave stuff behind or not pick things up. Like I didn't pick up the silver bell because I didn't have any inventory slots. It's not so finicky as encumbrance where different objects weigh different things. Like that's too finicky.
Yeah.
But I like making trade-off decisions about how much I can carry.
Yeah, and just for the listeners' benefit, the encumbrance rules, feel free to steal. I didn't invent this. You can carry a number of items equal to your strength score. And then if you carry more than that for whatever reason, you're impaired somehow. And small items like all of your keys that you find in the dungeon, those don't take a slot. A thing of matches doesn't take a slot. But like anything, specifically large enough to make note of, like all your weapons, all your armor, anything interesting you find just takes a slot. I'm very proud of all the little bits and bobs. I like the way that I like the way the magic system works, which I kind of designed from scratch with the help of Nave, of just like nobody prepares spells. Nobody likes preparing spells. You just know the spells and you can cast them, and each spell is a 1-sentence description. So I think there are successes in there. But yeah, I think it'll take a little bit of learning. I'm planning to use the system for my next campaign starting in about a month. So I'm hoping with repeated sessions and in like a hex crawl where they can learn different parts of the system that that people will really become familiar with it in a good way.
I think, don't confuse me not being good at roll low with roll low being bad. I think if you're playing this in person, get like a big honking, D8 or something. And the delta between the hit die of your players and the hit die of whatever monster they're fighting, like just flip over the D8 to reflect that number. That way they can just glance down and know what they're adding each time. I think that would help. Like you could, there's a bunch of things you could do at the table physically. One of the things I like about index card RPG, and I don't actually like that much about it, but I love that like in this room, everything is DC whatever. In this other room, everything, and I like that because you can get a big honking D20 and just flip it over to that number, and now everyone knows what they're rolling. Something like that at your table would be helpful.
Yeah. If I was doing this physically for every creature, like if you're fighting an orc that was hit die 5, I could just put a little thing on the outside of my screen that just says orc HD 5, and everybody knows, there's no confusion. So yeah, and anything that involves digital playing and virtual tabletops, it's a lot of juggling of windows. It's a lot of typing of formulas into Roll20. So I think that there's going to be kind of pain points that you didn't see coming with virtual tabletops too. Sometimes they're great for some things, but for other things, maybe they're a little overkill.
Yeah. So lessons learned. I'd say one, even if you read a dungeon and are inspired by it and think it's really fun, I think choose. You have a limited number of sessions in your life, probably not to be macabre, and choose carefully, curate a pre-written dungeon that works for your group. This is a wonderful dungeon that would work great for a certain type of player and a certain type of group, but not for us. And, could have made different choices.
Lesson learned number 2, have an emotional hook for your game. Like, I think if you're running a pre-written adventure, maybe you can't add those in, or maybe if it's part of a bigger campaign, you can say, hey, the mayor's daughter that Tim had a crush on, she's trapped in the dungeon. Now Tim has a reason to go explore the dungeon. So I think making a session your own and trying to find some heart in it. Not only, some dungeons have beauty and brains, but not all of them have heart, So try and find something, if you can, that will give your players something emotional to bite into, if that's the proclivities that they have, like Dusty has.
And 3, try stuff. Even though we learned so much from our failures. I think part of the magic of this show and this format and the lessons learned, we're not always incredibly complimentary of the things that we play, and we're usually very honest that, hey, that's more about us and how we engaged with it than it is the content itself. But I really value having these varied experiences. We can't just be small dungeon crawlers from now on, because variety is the spice of life. And a big dungeon was fun. And now I've learned a big dungeon's fun, maybe half the size, maybe make a few tweaks. Like, we learned a lot about our preferences, and ultimately I did have a good time with this.
Yeah. And I would recommend the adventure to anybody who, with some caveats about, hey, it's a big dungeon, you should have some time set aside for it. And what you said about variety being the spice of life is so true. You don't know where your limits are until you get close to them or hit the boundary. People bowl with bumpers on all the time, and sometimes you order something new out of. I view this session as us going to the same burger place that we know and love, and me and you decided to get a chicken sandwich this time, and we said, nah, chicken sandwich not for us. Let's get burgers next time. So, you know what? You gotta make some mistakes, but that's what the show is about, and we love it.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. People call them reviews, postmortems, retrospectives. We call them lessons learned, and we're sharing ours with you.